Hello, I'm Kimberly Chalmers of the Be Well and Be You podcast, where we talk about everything to do with wellness, well-being, and ultimately how to live our most vibrant lives. And this week, as I was deciding on what the topic would be, I was engaging in a conversation with my son and decided, hey, I'm going to interview him and he can share with you the things that he has been discovering and learning himself, because I really feel like there's a lot of us who are trying to figure out how to overcome fear, how to do things we really want to do, but it's the steps in between that we're maybe uncertain of in order to do that. So allow me to introduce you to my 16-year-old son, Oliver Rowe. Hey, Oliver.
Hey.
Glad you could be with us today. I had to do a little arm twisting, just a little, right?
Just a little.
Just a little. But then again, it's that whole process of overcoming fear, because this is new for you.
Yep. Yeah. New for me.
Have you done a podcast before?
I have not.
Have you been on YouTube before?
Nope.
No. So this is really new. So we had this really cool conversation, as we tend to do every once in a while, where, you unleash upon me all the things that you've been thinking about. And this time it was really a conversation on how you've been really strategic in overcoming fear. So I'd love for you to just talk a bit about that journey, share some of your story of how you even came to the point where you're at right now.
Yeah. So basically for me, it was just like I wanted to see how I could improve just myself in any way. Right. So I was just, on YouTube, just video popped up and it was like, this is why you should take cold showers every day. And I was like, okay, might as well check it out. Right. And so I watched this video, and for most things, that would be it. I would watch the video. I'd be like, that sounds great, but I know I'm never going to do that. And so this time, because I wanted to test myself, see if I could do it, I figured, why not? Why not try, cold showers every day? Just because, right? See if I can. And it actually taught me quite a bit about like commitment and overcoming fear.
So did you do a cold shower once?
I did it once and it was terrible. I hated it. It was so cold. But once it was done, I felt great. It was like, I felt like on fire. Like a cold shower feels really nice.
After the fact.
After the fact.
Getting into the shower.
Yep. That's the tough part. But once I did it, I thought I could do that again. Like, I think this is something I can keep doing. And then I kind of just got on track, and it actually ended up teaching me a lot about commitment, because I've been doing it every day for the past 4 months now. So, yeah.
So what happens when you get to the shower and you're like, it's a really cold day? Because we've had some pretty cold weather, and we're finally into summer now, but we had cold days, and then you're stepping into a cold shower. So what's going through your mind as you're stepping into that cold shower?
So the thing is, every time I wake up, I've fixated having a cold shower as part of the routine, right? So I wake up, go brush my teeth, first thing I do, right? Go to the bathroom. And I've just told myself that I've added this thing to my routine. And if I don't do it, then I'm going to have some guilt. Like, it's going to be, oh, I didn't do it today, I'm not going to feel as good. There's going to be some downside, right? So I just know that I am going to do this every day. Otherwise, I'm not going to feel as good about myself for it. So even though it doesn't feel like there might be much reason, it's the choice to commit to something and then being proud of achieving that commitment that has gotten me to do it every single day. So even if it's cold, I wake up and I think, I know that when I get out of this, I'm going to feel great. Like, I know I'm going to be proud that I did it. So I'm just going to do it, and I'm just going to jump in, and it ends up being great afterwards. So
amazing. I'm not there yet. So getting out of bed in the first place is not always
Yeah.
the easiest. And so how has that now translated into other areas of your life? So this is one thing, one commitment. You've shown yourself, you've proven to yourself, you can do something that doesn't feel good initially. You've shown yourself that you can go after that desired outcome. So you really, to me, what I'm hearing is you want that desired outcome of feeling good about yourself. So even though the thing that you're doing may not necessarily feel good in the moment, or it's usually just before you get in, right? That's the
Yeah, that's the tough part.
just get in, right?
Yep.
And so you've shown yourself the commitment, you've shown yourself you can do things that you don't really feel like doing, but you know the outcome is going to be positive for you. So where have you now seen this translating into other areas of your life?
Yeah, so it's been cool recently to like notice more that this has impacted other areas of my life. Just like my overall thinking has changed. Um, so like for example, we went to the lake. There were some cliffs to jump off of, and I figured that looks fun. I'm gonna go up and do it. And as a kid, I'm still a kid, but when I was younger, I would stand.
Although your voice would would say otherwise.
Yeah, maybe.
A deep voice.
Well, as a kid, I would stand at the diving board right at the pool and just wait for like
Right.
if what felt like forever. It was probably 10 minutes of me just standing there, nervously kind of going through my brain everything that could happen, trying to reason with myself as to why I would jump in, right? Um, but this time I found myself doing none of that. It was super easy to jump in. I saw other people doing it. Like it looked like a blast. So I wanted to experience that. So I jumped in and it was great. And I did it a whole bunch more times. Um, and so what I realized is I had sort of overcome that waiting period, that like, you know, uncertainty before I do something that I'm afraid of, um, just by experiencing it every morning, right? So every morning I wake up, I brush my teeth, and then turn on this cold shower and I sit and stare at it like it feels cold. I could feel the cold emanating from the shower. Like I know it's gonna suck. Like I'm like, oh man.
Every morning.
Every morning.
It doesn't get easy.
I don't want to do it. I keep thinking like, oh, why am I doing this? But then I think again, like once I do this,
right.
it will be fulfilling. It'll be satisfying. It'll feel good. So I know I have to do it. I jump in and I succeed at that task every morning. I succeed at something that's difficult that I don't want to do every morning. And so that has allowed me to do the same thing, in other areas every day, right? Go jump off a cliff. I succeed at something I don't want to do because I've gotten used to it, right?
Something that seems scary. You might consider in the past, you might have considered all the risks, all the possibilities.
Yep.
Whereas now it sounds like you repatterned, reprogrammed, rewired your brain to just do something, as opposed to the past pattern, which would have been overanalyze, think about it to death, worry yourself silly,
Yep.
all of those ways of being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it sounds like what you've done with just that seemingly simple exercise of a few minutes every day of a cold shower, but it's actually starting to rewire and build new circuits so that you can actually do other things in life.
Mm-hmm.
So jumping off a cliff. So one of the things that you shared was you had some friends cliff jumping with you the other day
Mm-hmm.
who were in that state of fear. So how did you coach one of your friends to overcome that?
So I explained a method, a way to like reason or rationalize what you're doing, and why it's okay to do whatever it is. So there's like 3 steps. It's like a checklist that you need to check off to go jump off a cliff, basically. And so the first is just ask yourself, is this going to negatively impact my health, right? So physically, mentally, you don't want to be doing something that's, going to harm you, right? So how good is this for me? Jumping off a cliff. I've seen other people do it. I know this is a safe thing to do. I know that I am physically capable of achieving this, right? And so there isn't a negative health risk for me doing this thing, right? So that's number one, right? And I told him, I said, you can make this. I know you physically have the capability to jump this distance, right? So once you've broken that barrier, you think the next thing. So if you do it now, or you do it 20 minutes from now, or an hour from now, like however long you wait, what is going to change, right? So if I jump off this cliff right now, or I jump off this cliff, you know, after the sun's gone down, like I just sit here waiting, what's going to change? And the answer is usually nothing. Nothing's going to change. It's always going to be the same. You're always going to make the decision now, and it'll be exactly the same as when you do it 20 minutes from now. So think that there's no reason why you couldn't be doing it now.
No
right?
benefit.
There's nothing.
No
Nothing's
benefit
gonna
to
change.
waiting.
No benefit to waiting. There rarely is, right? And then the third thing is, how am I going to feel after I do this, right? So that's the thing with the shower every morning, is once I get out, I know I'm going to, be proud that I did it. It does feel good coming out of a cold shower. And I know it's going to be a generally positive experience, right? Even if during the thing you're doing isn't amazing, like it's tough, right? Afterwards, if you do feel better about yourself, in physical, mental, it's a positive, right? That's a general positive. So you've checked off those three things, right? Are you in danger, really? If you do it now or 20 minutes from now, what's going to change? And are you going to like it? Is it going to be great, right? Cliff jumping is great because it's super fun. You get that adrenaline, and you get to land in whatever refreshing cold water at the bottom. So there was really no negative there. And that's what I feel was ultimately the thing that got him to do it, because he realized, why wait? I know I'm going to like this. It's going to be fun. Why would I wait, right? So he did it. He jumped off a cliff, and it was great. It was a great experience.
And he was probably pretty grateful for your coaching.
For sure.
Right?
I mean, he had fun. So,
It was interesting engaging in this conversation with you the other day, because I had also recently gone through, something similar but unique to my own life experience, where I needed to speak my voice. And for me, sometimes that's a challenge. And putting up boundaries in relationships or saying no to things is sometimes a challenge for me. I tend to be the kind of person who likes to just give. And we had a situation recently where I had committed to something and then needed to pull back. And for me, commitment, you honor your word. But things had completely shifted, and the commitment was no longer required of me. Yet I kept thinking, oh, I still need to do it. And I realized, after receiving some coaching from some other people in my life, it was like, no, you need to end this and you need to go speak it out. And for me, the process was that end piece for you, where you talk about, like, what's the ultimate? How are you going to feel afterwards? And I knew for myself that this was, even though it was kind of a minor situation, I knew that I needed to speak my truth, because this was like a little stepping stone on my path to speaking my truth in other situations. And so I just, without even overthinking and overanalyzing, like I tend to do too, you really are a chip off the old block. I just did it. I just went, I spoke my truth, I left. I didn't feel fantastic afterwards, but now I can look at that situation and see how, okay, that was awesome, because there's going to be more situations in my life that are going to come up where I'm going to continue to learn and continue to need to step into that place of my own personal power and using my own voice. So much like you with those cold showers, where it's like you just keep doing these little things, because it's going to eventually lead you to other bigger decisions. And you had a big decision recently that you needed to make, and I'm sure it was incredibly, nerve-wracking and whatnot for you, and yet you did it. And of course, we always want to make decisions, and when it impacts other people in our world, we want to do it with respect. We want to do it in a way where we aren't intentionally causing harm, right? So obviously all those things in mind, but I just love the fact that you, as a 16-year-old, decided you were going to start having cold showers. And this quite possibly will continue to impact many of your decisions going forward in the future. And I think for anybody who's listening to this or watching this, I think we can all relate on that very personal level, wherever we're at in our lives, from the standpoint of we all have different things we're afraid of. We all have different things that we're approaching and we're maybe worrying about and concerning ourselves with. And sometimes it's just jump off the diving board, jump into that shower, just do it. Rip the band-aid off, right? Because ultimately then you're right, you do feel proud of yourself afterwards. And so much of our life, you know, we were talking about this earlier as we were preparing for this today, is avoiding pain. And we have this culture of avoid pain at all costs, you know, and yet sometimes it's when you dive into that pain, you jump into that cold shower, that there is an ultimate benefit that so far outweighs the staying comfortable, the staying, you know, living by default. And that's, you know, what I talk about often in my podcast is we want to live a vibrant life. Living a vibrant life means doing things a little bit out of the ordinary, right? It doesn't mean just, you know, waking up, you know, having breakfast, going to work, coming home, having dinner, watching TV, going to bed. That's living by default. And that, you know, for some people that's good enough, but for some people we do crave more. We know that there's more within us that, you know, we want to either positively influence our lives, or we want to also positively influence other people's lives and, you know, make an imprint while we're here on this planet, make the most really of our time. So I know that our viewers and listeners got great value from today, great wisdom coming from you. I'm so proud of you. And proud of you for saying yes, because this wasn't easy for you to say yes to this as well. But how do you feel about yourself now after saying yes?
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right.
All right. That was a bit of a leading question there for you. I'll let you go now, but thank you so much for showing up today and for sharing what I know will be hugely beneficial for everybody who listens to this. Thanks,
That's great. Thanks.